This is the court file room in the public courthouse in San Jose, California, the heart of Silicon Valley. When they built a $283 million courthouse and opened it in 2016, somebody decided that we only needed 7 computers for 2 million people to access their probate, divorce, and custody cases. If you want to see the public court files, you have to come to this room. Rarely are clerks available to help people get on the computers, and people work together. Because 90% of people in family court have to be their own lawyer, they have to represent themselves, and they have to do their research in this court file room. And so they have to work together and rely on other people when the public employees who are paid to do this job are not available. And we started to notice that shortly after the courthouse was open, they began to put in a number of policies and procedures that made it even harder to access these files. For example, the lawyers and the judges put in a local rule that prohibited recording. So when this man was taking photographs of his computer screen, the police were sent in. And that was how we found out that there was a rule that said you couldn't record inside the courtroom. Whether it was a smart rule or not, it was still a rule. And then we found that the police were willing to enforce the rule so fiercely that they even were willing to arrest and prosecute people who took photographs of these public court files from the computer screens.
Please stop recording.
Right now, I am trying to do my job.
Stop recording.
I heard you.
Okay. Stop recording.
I heard you. Trying to research your custody case right
Correct.
now.
Correct, yes.
How long have you been here this morning?
This morning, I think I got here around about 11 o'clock, 11:15.
And you have a custody case, which means that your records aren't visible to the public. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
And so the court gave you this with a password on it.
Yes, this document right here.
And are you able to access that on the computer?
No, I pulled up by my last name, and then I pulled up different, the case number, tried going by some of the other information and date. Nothing pulls up.
And how long do you think you've been waiting in here? Just to
well,
get
with
copies of your file.
A couple hours now. Hi!
And
So, been waiting a little while, so, yeah.
so
Not to mention the harassment in the middle by the sheriff's department.
so the sheriffs were detaining you and harassing you for about for about maybe 45 minutes.
No worries. For about, so we had a little break in between for about 45 minutes of being harassed, being detained, fingers getting broken, and, cell phones getting taken. The normal harassment from the sheriff's department.
So you've probably been here over 2 hours, and do you have a copy of your file yet?
No, I can't even get the case number to pull up, and there's 30 more numbers in front of mine, and most of the windows are shut here at the courthouse.
So
Hundreds of people will visit the courthouse every day, but once they get here, where will they park? It's the newest addition to the growing San Jose skyline, the Family Justice Center, with tall ceilings and the grand staircase.
Well, it's a beautiful building. I know they put a lot of work into it. Excited to see how it looks inside.
But there is a problem.
What about parking? Parking is, I think, going to be challenging.
No additional parking was made available with the construction of the 8-story building.
So as the public employees convinced taxpayers that they needed to fund new courthouses, we got courthouses that had less parking, longer wait lines, and less information available. We got one computer room where we used to have 6, and some of the information was not even posted that we were entitled to know. Most importantly, that would include information about how many cases were assigned to the public courthouse and then removed to attorneys playing judge for private pay. In 2017, the courthouse posted a list saying that there were 28 cases before private judges, and that included the founder of Google, whose divorce case was also in Sunnyvale and was assigned to a private judge. By 2021, the courthouse told us that there were over 523 cases, and we find that that is still vastly deficient based on what we found inside those court files and from interviews with people that we ran into in the courthouse. Oh, that's where Oliver Garibay and Evan Brooks used to sit and laugh
about all that they were doing to their ex-wives in the courthouse. There's the old benches, worked just fine, and yet there was never any posting of those public or private, there was never any posting of the private judges.
Here we go. Hi there. Good. Did you get a call?
We did.
What was the call about?
About a male and female refusing to leave the property, I guess. What's going on?
So I'm going to want to file a report if there was a false police report made.
Okay. Can you just tell me your side of the story?
I sure can.
Okay.
I'm a reporter, and I have the court files with me, so I can show them to you, filed documents.
Okay.
And this is about Michael Smith, and he is a private judge.
Okay.
Do you know what a private judge is?
No.
Private judge is an attorney who does the job of a judge.
Okay.
They have full immunity. It's like if I put him in a, I don't know, are you a police officer?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, it's like if I give him a badge and a gun and he's not it's like if I give him a badge and a gun.
Okay.
So this is where an attorney gets to play judge. They're given, and I have the order right here, they're given the full power and authority to be able to be a judge. They can make orders. They could get me arrested with an order. They could do search warrants. They could do anything because they have this power.
Okay.
And so this building, and I'll show you the filed documents if you want to see them, this address right here is noticed as a public courthouse.
Okay.
So the rules of court 2.400 say that I have a right to go into there and look at all the case files that they have in front of them.
Okay.
Michael Smith has a lot of cases, and their hearings are not being publicly noticed.
Okay.
So imagine you get called to court to testify, and there's no notice of a hearing. You wouldn't know where to go. You wouldn't know what to do.
Okay.
So as a member of the press, I'm entitled to be able to hear hearings that are publicly noticed. So just because somebody's paying him doesn't mean that they, don't get to, that I don't get to be there. So I emailed him 2 weeks ago and said that I'm coming in for the records. I emailed him again another time. Today we found out, I have had people tell me that they have been instructed by a paralegal by the name of Margie Russo to come and sign documents related to a Kletz DVRO order here. And so that means that he is signing Kletz orders, and I don't know how a private judge in a law office is able to get somebody put into the Kletz database. And so that's a quandary to me. I filed a complaint, I filed a media request, and the moment I filed a media request, he recused. He had issued orders to pay himself cryptocurrency, $22,000 worth of fees. And this became a public courthouse the moment he took his oath, the moment he signed this, and the moment this document was filed in the court. And so they kicked me out of there. They're not giving me access to it. I have every legal right. I'll give you the law. And they are technically committing a crime by locking the public and reporters out of that courthouse. So
basically you would just like access to the...
We would like
all these court
access.
cases.
That's right. We would like, you know what? Thank you for saying that. That's all we're about is access. And you guys have had to get used to people recording you in public.
Oh, absolutely.
As awful as it can be sometimes to have us recorded, I know what it feels like to be recorded. And these private judges and judges in general are not used to it. But the moment he started taking $600 an hour, then he became a public judge. I'm entitled to see what he's doing. I'm entitled to see, he's a public figure essentially. And he had a whole group of office mates locking me out and calling the police for me. And I don't know, was it a trespassing call? But whatever they're doing, we're going to have to pursue this because I believe there are crimes being committed in there if they're locking the public out of what should be a public courthouse.
And he's in there right now?
They told us he's not there. They have no files, that he conducts all his hearings via Zoom, which they're not noticed. There's nowhere that they're noticed. So where would those be? I don't know.
Let me go inside and talk to them.
Okay.
Notify them of...
And I'll give you the law. I've got the filed documents. I've got the case file. I'll tell you everything. But allowing them to lock me out of that office, if I want to just sit in there until 5 o'clock, I'm entitled to do that. So let's talk about access. I'll wait out here so I don't cause any trouble, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. What is your name?
Officer Salvas, ma'am.
I'm sorry?
Officer Salvis,
Salvis, and what is your badge number?
17694.
Thank you, sir. You did a great job.
Thank you.
Do you mind if I get all your names and badge numbers so I know who's on the call?
Yes, I will provide you that, okay? Let me talk to my partner. Before I leave here, you will get that.
Okay, thank you very much. Sir, what about you? Are you a detective?
No, I'm not. But it will all be on the incident number. So
Okay.
We'll give you a business card once we leave, and once we figure out the other side.
Okay. And I'm going to need to know that gentleman's name because he's the one that called the police.
They came into the building, asked for Mr. Spencer. Mr. This is here. No one in his staff is here. I told him nobody's here.
You want to talk to me inside? Right here. Inside, right here, inside as well.
Policies and procedures are not laws, and the lawyers, judges, and paralegals in Santa Clara County have tried not only to prevent us from recording inside that courthouse, but they tried to pass their own policies and rules that would mean that we couldn't record out on this public sidewalk. That has largely been ignored by protesters and members of the media ever since. This is Margie Russo, and she is a paralegal for 2 private judges, and she's known for making up a number of policies and procedures that are not law. And that's what we are going to continue to investigate, because we understand that people have been told that private judging would be cheaper, faster, and more private than public court, when in fact, all private judging proceedings are open proceedings. That means we have a right to attend the hearings, to look at the papers, and to know what Margie Russo is doing with that paperwork when she acts as the private judge's clerk. And so we are going to continue to investigate her, and I imagine she's going to continue to call the police and claim that she's terrified of us recording her in public.